guys, welcome back to Never Trust an Atom. Today I'm going on an adventure before school to the Science Museum in London, so I thought I would do a little mini vlog and yeah, hope you enjoy. I quickly ate some breakfast. I had porridge with some fruit and chocolate, which is my go-to in the morning. Then we hopped on the train and headed off to London. I love getting the train and it was really quiet, which was quite nice. I spent the journey listening to music and reading some of my book, which was The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which I thoroughly recommend to anyone interested in cell biology or the history of science, but really just anyone and everyone, as it covers such an important topic. The tube was practically deserted in some places, which was really strange and just felt quite eerie.
So quiet.
We have reached London and we are now walking to the Science Museum.
We're here!
We'd pre-booked our tickets as they only let a certain number of people in due to COVID, so there was no queue at the entrance, which was great. Also, shout out to the security guard for making us laugh. Once we were in, it was time to explore. I love the entrance hall. The machines are huge and so awe-inspiring that they were built so long ago. It was also great to see the museum acknowledging the not-so-great sides of science, such as its racist past. After reading about the history of energy and a quick look at the mask of vending machine, it was time to move on to my favourite exhibit, exploring space. As I said, the history of science is fascinating though flawed, and it was interesting to see how the history of spaceflight and rockets in particular are tied with historical events of the 20th century. I'll come back to rockets later, but first let's take a look at the space science side, from the sun to the planets and beyond. It was crazy seeing the Apollo lander. Like, you know that it has to be big to fit 2 astronauts for a couple of days, but I didn't expect it to be quite so big. I love how they had it in a setting with the different instruments like this mirror and seismometer around it, as it really made it come to life. This is a mini Saturn V engine. After Sputnik, the first thing you see is all of the model rockets that they have to show. From obscure ones like the Black Arrow, which was Britain's only rocket that had 2 stages and launched once back in the 70s, to more famous ones like the iconic Space Shuttle, this exhibit really has it all. Then you've got like futuristic ones, and then you've got the old ones. Spacesuit worn by Helen Sharman, who visited the Mir space station and was the first British person to go into space. How cool! As well as featuring astronauts like Helen Sharman and Yuri Gagarin, they also had Tim Peake's actual Soyuz capsule that travelled back from space on display. You can learn about space in so many different ways. Not just by sending astronauts to visit, but also with sensitive instruments like this one, which measured the ratio of elements in the sun, and landers like the Huygens probe that landed on Titan in 2004.
This is a full-sized replica of the Titan Huygens lander, and that's the parachute that got it through its thick atmosphere. Slow it down, and this is what landed on the surface. This is the instrument that touched the ground on Titan.
And of course, Hubble deserves a mention. Since its launch over 30 years ago, it's produced astounding images that have captured the imaginations of people around the globe. There was also some other spacey stuff dotted around in different exhibits, like this replica of the Bepi Colombo spacecraft, which had to be covered in a thick heat shield as it travelled close to the Sun to visit Mercury, and the control panel from the command module of the Apollo era. This last one was in a section called The Making of the Modern World, which featured some of the first versions of things we take for granted today, like cars and sewing machines, and also some more unique items, like this old particle accelerator from the 30s.
1 million volt particle accelerator from 1937.
There was also this art project which I found quite thought-provoking.
How cool is that?
Next was the driverless section, which may have been small but was packed with information and new technology. It's amazing when you think how far we've come in just 50 years, science-wise, though you look at the news and wonder if we ever really learn anything. But anyway, they had a really cool thing about the potential positives and negatives of drones, as well as how autonomous robots are used to explore inaccessible regions of the Earth, like the sea. It also showed some of the technology needed to make driverless vehicles safer. There were quite a few interactive pieces like this, which I found really fun, and it was a bonus that you didn't have to touch anything, as it was all done on camera and object recognition. This funky blue room was all about the atmosphere and global warming, with lots of information about how we know it's caused by humans, climate modelling, and also the technology available to overcome or prevent climate change from worsening. I found this ice core very cool, as it visually showed the evidence for climate change and is also what real scientists use. We were running out of time by this point, so we quickly walked through the planes and engine section and briefly stopped in the Science in London exhibit because all of the artefacts were absolutely stunning. And I saw so many telescopes and I'm always like, "Ooh, telescope," whenever I see one. Also, how beautiful is this model of the solar system? It showed how the planets moved and just wow. The last exhibit that we made time to briefly stop in was the math section, which is probably the most beautifully designed room, and showed how maths is related to every area of science and general life.
Look at this massive telescope!
All too soon, our time in the museum came to an end, and we were speed walking to the Tube to get across London for afternoon tea with a twist, at a cat cafe. It was delicious and very entertaining watching the cats play and stroking them after we had eaten. Enjoy this mini compilation of all the different cats that we saw there.
reaction, Chris? You can jump. Oh, oh no.
They have spots that they really like, and they suffer a little bit when they miss their chance to get to it.
All in all, it was a really fun way to spend my last day of freedom before I went back to school. Museums really are so amazing. If you have a favourite museum or exhibition, let me know in the comments and I'll try add them to my museum bucket list. It was definitely a relief to see some good COVID measures in place and the trains were literally empty coming home. Thanks so much for watching and I hope everyone is having a good start to September. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe and I'll see you next week.